15-year-old Hunter Ogden was born with a unilateral cleft lip and palate, but that hasn't stopped him from developing remarkable resistance and compassion. In addition to a heart murmur, breathing problems soon after birth, and fighting for his life when doctors didn't believe he would survive, Hunter also had 13 surgeries and faced bullying because of his cleft. Hunter's story showcases his strength, resilience, faith, and the unwavering love and support of his family. I had the opportunity to speak with Hunter and his mother, Jennifer, about Hunter's inspiring journey growing up with a cleft lip and palate and becoming one of the youngest competitors on American Ninja Warrior. I hope you'll enjoy this interview to learn a little bit more about Hunter and hear about his experiences on American Ninja Warrior. So, Hunter, first of all, tell me a little bit more about yourself. How old are you, and just what kind of cleft lip and palate you have, and anything else you want us to know about?
I am 15 and I have, what kind of, would you say is the specific kind of,
Unilateral
no,
cleft
no,
lip
no,
and
no, no,
palate.
no, no. What was the third thing she asked? I
Oh,
forgot.
anything you want us to know about you? Anything just general about, a little bit about. So you have a unilateral cleft lip and palate, and because I have a bilateral cleft lip and palate. So what do you want us to know about you first and foremost? Like most important things or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I think probably the most important thing about me is like the reason I got to where I am to be able to like compete on national TV, like
Hmm.
to be able to like have this chance with Smile Train. I devote all of that to God, and that is
Hmm.
like one of the it's the main thing that I want to come across is like for my life, I want people to know that I devote everything to God and like I couldn't like do anything without God, so that's probably the most important thing about me that I definitely want people to know. I
Hmm.
don't know. There's not much else.
Right, right. So you're very spiritual, and you have deep faith, and you're deeply rooted in religion, and your belief and your faith with God, and that's fabulous. I'm the same way, and I know a lot of my friends are, and you're right. I mean, some people question why God made us this way and why He gave us cleft lip and palate, but as one of my clients told me, and as I believe, He made us this way for a reason, to make us unique, and so that we can spread, the word and spread awareness and teach other people about acceptance. That you want to be a role model for people to spread a message, positive message, in a world that's not the most positive. And I love I love that attitude. I love how much passion and love and compassion I feel from you. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
really I definitely feel like God made us to where like there are no challenges that we have in life that
Hmm.
he knows that we can't overcome. Like he hasn't given us anything to where it's like, oh, like I can't do this. All the things that we go through in life, including having the cleft lip and palate, all those things are things that I can overcome, and it's only through the strength that he gives me. So I definitely that's one thing that I really want to stress out of like anything in my life is that I'm able to stay humble and always spread a positive message and again devote all that and give it back the glory to God.
Hmm. That's beautiful, and I agree. And by spreading that message is how we're going to continue to raise awareness and continue to just let the world know about cleft lip and palate and what it is, and that it's not something that anybody has to be afraid of.
Oh yeah.
So, what has your journey growing up with the cleft lip and palate been like, and how is it? We talked a little bit how it shaped your perception on life, but can you elaborate a little bit more? Just share your personal journey growing up.
Oh yes. So it was definitely not like easy growing up being so different than everybody else because like I've had many people like make fun of me for like the scar on my lip and how that's impacted like the growth of different teeth and like the shape of my mouth and it was really hard like growing up and having to face that, but it was not like my attitude towards it has made it a lot easier growing up. Because like a lot of people would like be much more impacted by those comments than I've been.
Hmm.
Just because I've had so much support and love from my family, it's made me unashamed to admit that and to like say, oh yes, I do have those issues, and just really being accepting of that. And to me, like um it's just like a trait about my appearance. It's not necessarily something that I had to go through. I acknowledge that it definitely is something that you have to go through in life, but for me personally, it's like saying, "Oh, this person has freckles. Oh, me, I have cleft lip and palate." It's just it's something that I don't really weigh a lot on. Like I don't put a lot of weight on that as a crutch for me. Like it's not something that I even really register most of the time. So it's been really different growing up, and hearing all that feedback, whether it's positive or negative. I guess growing up with cleft lip and palate, I knew I was different, but it didn't bother me because of the love
Hmm.
and support from my family.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
can I just say, he has
Oh,
had
absolutely.
everything his entire life, all the challenges, all the obstacles he's had to face, all the surgeries, he's handled them all with grace, humor, positivity. It just like he's such an inspiration to me because, through several of his surgeries, even when he was little, he would be comforting me, telling me, I'm going to be
Aw.
fine. And
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's
he's
so heartwarming.
absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I'm hearing is that you don't, you acknowledge that you have a cleft lip and palate, but it doesn't exactly define you. You're defined by the compassion and the strength that you have and the other things that you do. And, despite being bullied, I love that it hasn't really affected your attitude, that you still have that positive, strong attitude toward the world and just helping people. That is so inspiring. It really is.
Oh,
And
thank
so, yeah, and that was one of the questions I was going to ask is how your family and your friends supported you, and it sounds like you also supported your mom and your family as well. So, you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do. I have two younger sisters and one older brother.
Uh-huh. Okay. And how did they support you through all of your surgeries? How are they doing with everything going through this?
Since my sisters are younger, they really haven't. I don't think they've really gotten a chance to see how different, like, living that, like, living a lifestyle of having the cleft lip and palate impacts somebody. Just because since I'm their older brother, they may think, oh, this is like just something, just another thing that people like
Hmm.
have to go through. And I think that's a really good thing for them is like to be growing up with someone who has that so that they are more sensitive to um and aware of people that do have that. And it's really good for them. And my older brother has been since he grew up without cleft lip and palate. He's been definitely I think it's been really different for him growing up as well because he is supporting me a lot through my surgeries, and he's also got to see my growth in that and how that's impacted my life while
Hmm.
he's also still living his own life and seeing how the cleft lip and palate changes, like seeing how those surgeries impact your life. And so I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
I think
Mhm.
it's developed a lot of compassion for all of his siblings. Like
Hmm.
they have compassion towards um everyone. Like when kids go through certain things, like my aunt had cancer, it affects you and you care more about people. It just, I don't know. It makes a big
Right.
difference, I think. So
Right.
it's
No,
a good
yeah, you have to be right. I feel like people with less than talent are more compassionate and more empathetic because we know what it was like to be bullied. We know what it was like to go through all of these life challenges and to come out the other side as strong as we are and as motivated and compassionate as we are. So yeah, definitely it gives us, that deeper sense of compassion. And how about your friends? How have they been throughout all of this? Do you have any friends from childhood that are still with you, or is it they've just been? How have they been?
Actually, I'm trying to think. Maybe when I was younger, did I have any friends with cleft lip and palate?
No, but I mean, like Josiah, I mean,
Oh,
he
yeah.
was born with missing limbs from his hands, so you all
Mhm.
had that like
Oh,
in
yeah.
common that he had to go through surgeries and you had to go,
Hmm.
through surgeries and
Yeah.
but we moved from Texas to Tennessee in 2017.
Hmm.
So, we don't have, I mean, occasionally we'll see friends from Texas, but
Yeah. And like I don't there's no one that I've really been able to specifically connect with. I don't think I've had a really close friend that has had cleft lip and palate, but I still have other friends who have gone through other things, and it gives me the encouragement to say to be able to accept my situation the way it is and say, oh, other people could have it a lot worse than me.
Hmm.
And in that, like, building myself up and being stronger and being able to say, I'm okay with my situation because, again, God has given that to me. This is my journey. And I'm able to face that knowing that, like, I've just been given a gift and it's something like, because to me, if you want to look at it in a negative light, like, that's your own choice to say, oh, like, to be sad, and it is something to be sad about because you're different than the other people having a cleft lip and palate. But for me, it's just a way to say, like, other people have had it, like, much worse than me, and it's a way for me to um I guess cope with that in a way, just being able to work through that
Hmm.
and use that to grow.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's beautiful. I love how you put that. What about your friends from school who don't have a palate? Have they been supportive? And what is your friendship going to be like?
Oh yeah. I feel like friends from school, it's a little bit different because my friends from school, we don't really talk much about, like, it's not really a subject of importance, like my cleft lip and palate, which
Hmm.
I feel is good because it makes me feel like I don't have something different
Hmm.
and like there's not something wrong with me. So it's really it's like normal friendships. There's nothing that really changes
Hmm.
my cleft lip and palate. I still have normal friends
Right.
and normal conversations. I It's only come up really a few times, and that's when like playing like 20 questions or not 20
Right.
questions, just learning more about
Yeah.
each other. It just comes up as a fact, like, oh yeah, I had this and this, and that's just something about me that's a cool.
Wow.
yeah,
That's beautiful.
I think since we moved to Tennessee, I mean, that I'm aware of, I don't think anybody's like made fun of you or
A
given you a
few
hard time, have you?
a few times, but like it's not it's not significant to me, and it because I don't react to it like some people would, because I know so many people have said this before, but bullies rely on a reaction, and so if you
Hmm.
don't give them a reaction, then they're gonna stop. And so when those instances do occur, I just brush it off and it doesn't happen again.
Hmm. That's great, and that actually leads to my next question. Have you encountered a lot of bullying either when you were younger or as you were growing up, or is it not? How has that been?
I think that it was a lot more when I was younger. Um, because I was a lot more self-conscious when I was younger. I had a I was a lot less mature when I was younger, and so with that, I it got to me like a lot more. Like I've had people call me toothless, just like things like that.
Hmm.
Uh, like just it it got to me when I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
But as I've grown up, again, just realizing that the reaction, it like it makes them do it more, and just not letting that get to me has been really, really helpful. And just again remembering that God gave me this for a reason, and so
Hmm.
if people disagree with that, then that's not my problem, and I just have to kind of brush it off and just live my life.
Right, right. Now that you're a teenager, you said that you were 15, and pushing, I'm sure you're going to be going into like the teenage years and then the adult years. How has it been? Has it been challenging for you as a teenager when everybody, a lot of the other teenagers are just concerned about their appearance, the complexities of teenage life? Maybe going to start dating in a couple more years. I know mom probably doesn't want to hear that. So how has that been? As you enter those teenage years and high school years and all the peer pressure, just the challenge of being a teenager. How has that been with you?
I'd say it's actually gotten more fun the longer I live my life, just to be able to add to my story, and like because it doesn't affect me as much, I feel like it's it's something that I'm aware of, that people may see me differently because of my cleft lip
Hmm.
and palate, but for me, it just makes it more special when I find people that truly care about me, because I'm not saying I don't I'm not saying I'm not attractive, but I'm saying because some people might not like the cleft lip and palate look, it means that much more to me when I find good friends who like me because of my personality.
Hmm.
And that it's the older I grow, especially in high school, it seems like the reverse happens. Normally, when you're younger, you don't care like what you look like, and then as you grow older, you start to care more. I feel like, and you can ask my family too. I feel like it's been the opposite. I used to care a lot about my appearance just because I was younger and I was that much more different than other people. But I feel like now I could care less what I look
Hmm.
like. Um, just like it doesn't really bother me because I know if people um the people that you want in your life aren't going to care
Right.
about your appearance, like whether you look good or whether you have a scar on your lip or anything like that. Those things really don't matter. Besides, looks fade, so
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
We've we've tried to instill so much confidence in him,
Hmm.
and confidence in his grades and just who he is as a person and, everything. And he's very charming. Girls like him a lot. So he had like, we've always told him, we're like, you have this natural, loving and fun personality. And, he had a girl that liked him for a long time, and she would always tell him like, you know, I think you're perfect just the way you are. Like, it doesn't matter that you're
Wow.
this cleft lip and palate. And so, he's so much more, like he said, than just, a scar or the surgeries he's been through. He's the whole package. So
Yes, yeah, and I can feel your confidence coming through. I mean, you're just you exude it, and like your mom says, you are very, very charming, and you just have so much confidence. And I mean, I love that. It's so nice to see that, in you being a young person. And I can only, I mean, let's talk about the future. I'm excited about what you're going to do as you continue to grow up. But also, I wanted to know, I don't think I asked, how many surgeries have you had so far?
I think did we count? It was 13.
Around 13, including ear tubes and all of
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the official count is 13.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's
That
about
sounds about
right.
right. And what's been most challenging for you with, I mean, is there any surgery that really stands out for being most challenging? What's been most challenging and most like, oh my God, that was the hardest thing I've been through so far regarding your cleft lip and palate?
I think probably well, that's I think the two most recent ones have been really tough on me. Um, just because and those are the I had a septorhinoplasty
Mm-hmm.
to clear up because I also have sleep apnea, and so that makes the whole cleft lip and palate thing just a little bit worse, just because the issues are interconnected. So they had to do reshaping for my nose, and that was the whole thing. And what was the one before the septorhinoplasty? That was that was the lip where they redid.
They
No,
did that too.
no, I'm talking about the lip. Like they
The lip revision.
the lip revision.
Yeah.
They did a lip revision.
Love you guys.
Love you, Dow. They did a lip revision. What was it? Like 3 years? Was it 2 or 3
I think
years
it was
ago?
2. I don't know. It's hard to keep track.
It definitely
Um,
is. Yes, I can relate. Yep,
uh,
I've had 20 surgeries myself, and you lose track of them all after a while.
yes, definitely. But I think there's a lip revision, and that was the lip revision and the septorhinoplasty, especially because I'm doing Ninja Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
That is, it takes you completely out for a while, and that has been really, really tough, just because it's a big passion of mine, and the younger you are, the more you grow in any sport, really.
Yes.
But so having those chunks of time where I have to take a break, I can't do any of the crazy things that I usually like to do. Those have been really tough, and I think also the older you grow, the more you remember the pain.
Yes.
It definitely is more ingrained, because especially just not necessarily how people cover it in the negative light, but surgery is a scary thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so the just the I think the buildup of the surgery is makes it almost mentally more painful, just
Mm-hmm.
knowing what you have to go through before that. So
Yes,
those,
yes. And that's a great point. I mean, as you know, having surgeries and then somebody that's been through it, like you, it's like you said, the mental preparation and the anxiety about the surgery, and then wondering how much is it going to hurt, missing school or missing your favorite activity, training for Ninja Warrior. And I mean, I used to be terrified that I was going to die on the operating room table from the anesthesia or something. And then, so it does really require a lot of mental toughness. And I'm going to talk to you about Ninja Warrior, but first I wanted to talk to your mom and asking what it's been like for you having him, when you found out he had a cleft lip, and tell me a little bit about your experience with, raising Hunter.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try not to get emotional.
That's okay.
It's been such an amazing journey. But we knew there was a chance he would be born with cleft lip and palate, because my mother-in-law was born with cleft lip and palate, as well as my brother-in-law. So even when I was pregnant with our older son, during the 20-week sonogram, we had asked about it, and they didn't see it in our older son, Chance. And then when we were pregnant with Hunter, they did. I can't remember now. I know they can see one or the other on the sonogram, and I can't remember which one it was, if it was the lip or the palate, but they did identify one of the two. So we, we weren't surprised. I mean, we knew what to expect. And when he was born, he was in ICU for a couple of days, which was, it was challenging. he had a heart murmur, which resolved, and his respirations were extremely high. And unbeknownst to me, a nurse had told my husband that he might not make it, which he didn't tell me that because, he didn't want to worry me. And I had, an emergency C-section. So anyway, so he was born a fighter. I mean, he was born just with a fighting spirit and so strong. And a lot of people at the time were very kind and compassionate, but a lot of people had said, we're so sorry. We're so sorry he's born, with cleft lip and palate. And it did anger me because, as I told a lot of people, and as Hunter had said, he could have been born with, something that he didn't survive. We have friends that their child was born with a heart condition and he did not survive. And, I would tell people he is going to have to go through a lot, but he is going to be okay. He's going to be able to live a normal life and be able to function and, and be okay. Like, these are going to be challenging years for him, but we're his family and we're going to love him through it and get him through it. And so I was thankful for their compassion and concern, but I was also a little perturbed because I was like, this is something that he will still be healthy and happy and have a long, wonderful life.
So, Hunter, back to you. I'm going to talk to you about Ninja Warrior, but I have one more question. What do you want to do when you grow up, when you graduate high school? What are your kind of career goals? What are you thinking of?
I, in all honesty, have no idea. I have no concrete decision. It's probably a better way to say it because I have so many ideas, like of things that I know I would be so happy and fulfilled doing in life, but there's not one thing that's specifically like that I know that is like really calling me. So it's been I know I have a pretty long time to decide. I have 3 years, but still, I really don't have an idea of what I want to do.
What are some of your like top contenders? Because I know you have quite a few.
Oh yes, I do. I I've always I have my top four. My top four are I've either wanted to become a teacher, and that's becoming a little bit less likely just because poor teachers. Teachers are the most teachers and police officers are probably the most underrated jobs ever just because I know teachers do not get paid even close to what they should be because of all the stuff they deal with and now I'm gonna go on a rant. I'm not gonna do that. But I wanted to become a teacher, a detective, a police officer, or a pastor, and those are my four main ones. If I had a dream job, I would love to own my own Ninja Warrior gym, of course.
Mhm.
But for a normal career goal, yeah, those four are my top contenders.
Those are amazing. And you can always be a college professor too instead of just an elementary school teacher. But I mean, I love that. And those are all such fabulous careers. And I know that you're going to go ahead and find the one that you feel most happiest about. So let's talk about Ninja Warrior. First of all, I am a huge fan of this show. I don't has your run aired yet or not yet?
It has not aired yet.
Okay, yeah.
We don't know when it's gonna air.
Okay, but it's already been filmed.
Right. It's already been filmed. The first episode will be June 4th, correct?
5th, yes.
June 5th.
Okay. But what I want to know is what motivated you to go on Ninja Warrior?
I guess my competitive spirit and my overall just love for the sport, it just propelled me to want to go for the highest level of competition, which is the show. And so I just kind of just I just wanted to progress as far as I could, and I never thought I would get on the first season of applying, because I was as young as you can get. Like the youngest age you can apply is 15, and so it was crazy to me that I actually got on.
Yeah. And so I know being on the show, you need so much physical strength, but also mental strength. I mean, you're competing against the clock, you're competing against others, you're on these obstacles, you never know what they're going to look like because I know they change all the time. So how did you prepare for those challenges and how did having Cleft palate and what you've learned about resilience and adversity help you with Ninja Warrior?
Oh, it's definitely been hard trying to prepare for Ninja Warrior just because, like you said, they change everything all the time, and it's been a lot. It's been a lot of trying new things, because you never know what they have some pretty cool things in store this season. Can't say a lot about it, but it's definitely you're gonna have to watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
They always find new challenges, and so me just challenging myself, I've been trying to come up with crazy things to try to replicate some of the skills that you need to be on the show. And I think my cleft lip and palate has helped me prepare for that in just fighting my own battle and while still maintaining my competitive spirit, not letting it get to the point of if I don't win, I'm going to be so disappointed in myself, which of course, like, you're always going to be disappointing in some, at least a little bit if you don't win. And so that, I mean, of course, that's going to happen, but I think not letting it get to me too much has been really, really awesome.
But what I'd like to know is, what strategies did you use to maintain the focus and overcome any self-doubt that may have came up when you were either competing, during the competition or even in your training? And did you have any self-doubt?
Oh yes, I've definitely had a lot of doubt, like especially once I learned I was going to be on the show. Like I just basically apply on the off chance that maybe I'll get picked. And then when I actually got picked, I realized that I have nowhere near the years of experience that even some of the teenagers my age have, because I like in Tennessee where I live, it's not there's nothing really it's like a ninja desert. There's nothing like the place I train at, it's like it's a room. It's not like
Whole gym
it's
or-
not a whole gym. It's a room inside of a gymnastics gym. And so even that has been so awesome. But the self-doubt it's been there, but I've been able to overcome it just because getting there is such a blessing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know many people, like I know tons of people that I can name off that have more talent and experience than me, but they didn't get on the show. And
Right.
they've applied for 1 year, 2 year, even like 5 years. Like people have applied and never gotten on. And so just maintaining that, like the expression I'm playing on house money, like I already have won I've already won the lottery by getting on the show, so I'm just gonna go out there, do my best, and have fun.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And I love that. So was there any time either during your run or in your training or just any along the path to Ninja Warrior, even when you did the first couple of runs, or however many runs you did, where you had to make like a split second decision and you knew that you just had to trust yourself and trust God that He was going to look out for you?
Oh yes, there are. Oh yes. I cannot say much about it, but I will tell you what I can. But I did fracture my foot while I was running.
Oh
And
no.
so on one of the obstacles, and I had to make a split-second decision, and I did save it, and I kept going. But definitely just having that trust in God and knowing that whatever happened, wherever I fell, that I was going to make my family proud, and I was going to make God proud, and just knowing that, like, it got me through it.
And
Mm-hmm.
he still did amazing despite getting injured. So, I mean,
Yes.
the producer said this is going to be the most exciting run to watch. And it was for the audience and for our family. And, he was very nervous up to a certain point the night of the competition. And then remember when you told me, you were like, Mom, I feel at peace. I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like God's going to give me strength and, I'm just going to get out there. And I mean, you did. You were so nervous. And then all of a sudden you just, I don't
Yeah.
remember if it was before or after we prayed with the other ninja,
Yeah,
Joseph and his mom, but
I think I was always relatively calm. Like God gave me a supernatural sense of peace about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the night of the competition is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Just because it's actually there and it's happening, and like being on set, like seeing the things I watched on TV, it was absolutely insane. But I think that God definitely gave me a sense of peace when I was running, and it was all game based. It was
Mm-hmm.
from there.
And
Right.
I hope you don't mind if I interject for a
No,
minute.
please do.
Hunter, like where he got the motivation. I feel like Ninja was like tailor made for Hunter because
Mm-hmm.
he's always been like a climber and a jumper, and he's always been up in trees and swinging, like a monkey. And I just feel like his great grandmother introduced him to American Ninja Warrior, and he watched the show and was like, I've got to do this. So I just feel like
Wow.
there are so many kiddos out there that like they're like him, just so
Mm-hmm.
active and have all this pent up energy, and maybe not like maybe a team sport isn't for them per se, but you know, this Ninja Warrior is just so great for so many kids because it
Right.
just gets him to a T. I mean, when he was a little boy, he would like climb up the inside door frame of our house, and he was always looking for like, what can I climb and what cool trick can I do? And so it just it suits him to a T. It's amazing.
Right. And I mean that's fabulous. But that also brings up another question that I just thought of is that do you have any fear of falling either when you're training or doing the runs that you're gonna fall and do some damage to your lip, to your nose, to all the surgeries that you've had?
Um, I think definitely. I think the only times I really fear, specifically about my nose and lips, um, like the cleft lip and palate. I think that's only when I'm coming back from like a surgery, and I'm just starting to train again. And I know that like everything's still sensitive, and it's still like it hasn't solidified yet, and so that has been real. Again, that's really tough too because there's the general waiting period where they say, "Oh, it's like 2 months before you can even think about touching a Ninja Warrior obstacle." And then there's a long time after that where I'm still not up to like my full strength and full capability of training, and
Right.
like having the mental fortitude to be able to trust myself going into like really hard Ninja Warrior obstacles because it does happen and I have gotten injured. Not seriously, but like it does happen. It's bound to happen sometimes where you miss a move or you just do something that looks really fun but it's actually really dumb. Um, those things.
Right.
And it does happen, but I think that summarizing, I think that the only time that happens is really when I'm coming back from a surgery and I realize like I have to set limits on myself so that I don't further injure.
Because you like to push things.
I do like
Right.
Yeah.
And have you found that your cleft lip and palate, your breathing has affected you on your runs? Because I know sometimes when I exercise, I have really bad sinuses. I get trouble breathing sometimes, especially if I go swimming with my ears and the ear infections and the water in my nose. So how like the physical limitations or the physical issues with cleft lip and palate affected you with the training and your physical activity with Ninja Warrior?
Um, I think that's kind of like the silent part that I haven't really talked about like at all in my life because like it does definitely affect me. And I feel like I never want to use it as an excuse to not push myself as far as I can go. Because I feel like that's very I feel like it's just ingrained in my character to not want to use things like things that have happened to me as an excuse to not push myself as far as I could go. Just because like my mom said, I do like to push things to the limit. And so in that, like it has been an issue, like running courses or doing obstacles. Sometimes it is like an issue with like breathing, and I also have a heart murmur. And I feel like that has also impacted like if I get too physically active, like I'll have to like settle down. And I feel like those things they do definitely impact me, but I haven't let it stop me.
And I've
Right.
never heard him complain about it either. He's never complained about
That's
anything with, trouble breathing. Like he's just a trooper. I mean,
That's amazing. I know that Ninja Warrior is such a tight knit community of like all competitors, and even the past competitors and the future ones. So, how did you make those connections, and what has that been like? Just being now a Ninja Warrior, being among the names of the greats and everything.
yeah.
Oh, that's been it's been really quick, like and sped up. I like being on Ninja Warrior is that's a really good indicator of because they don't just let anybody on. So it's a
Right.
really good indicator of your skill and it shows other Ninja Warriors like, oh, this guy's actually been on. So that's another blessing of Ninja Warrior, is that it's gotten me really introduced to the ninja community. As someone who is actually serious about the sport, and it's also taken away a lot of my nerves for like meeting other people, because like these are people that I've watched on TV for like years and years and years, and so meeting those people, I feel like during the experience I was still really nervous to meet them, but afterwards, especially having that injury and being able to push that, it shows my determination, and that's something that Ninja Warriors really respect, and so really, it's really been awesome getting to know people because of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
The community has really embraced Hunter, embraced me as a ninja mom. Like it is like a big family, and even though it's a competition, everyone cheers for one another and gets super excited when they do well and get super sad when you get injured, and it's such an amazing thing to be a part of. Like when he started telling us like I want to take ninja classes and I want to be involved, we were like, okay, we support you. Like with our kids, if they wanted to do something, we support them. But we just had no idea what a amazing sport we were getting into as a family. And just after he was injured, so many of the moms reached out to me. How's he doing? And we've built just amazing friendships.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's just been a huge blessing, and it's so unique and so special. And ninja is just it's a whole different community and just group of people, and they truly cared for Hunter. I mean, it was was really special.
Wow. So who are some of the famous ninjas that you've met so far? Can you share?
Yes, I can definitely talk about it. I've met some of my favorite like ninjas that I've gotten to meet and talk with have been Caleb Bergstrom. He's one of the ones who used to be considered really young, and then they lowered the age limit to 15. And he's really cool. And I've also met and talked to Electric Enzo.
Younger, but he's
one of the younger ones. And I've also gotten to talk with some of the older ninjas. There's one, his name is Sam. And he's
he's like one of the first ninjas. I remember him when Ninja Warrior was like way back years ago. Yes.
Yes.
Oh yes.
He's so nice. He was so nice.
Oh yeah, he's really encouraging. And even my own coach was I don't know if we've gotten to talk to anyone at Smile Train about this. But my coach, he actually was on the show he was on the Ninja Warrior show, and his name is John Luby, and he's actually the geriatric ninja, and he's 71, and he does so amazing at Ninja Warrior. We were just hanging out at the gym last night and just training for a competition I have coming up, and he's so talented.
Yeah, and
wow.
So scary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have much respect for all of the Ninja Warriors, because I mean, you make it look so easy, especially you, Hunter, for doing it. I know it's challenging. So as we start to wrap up here, what message do you want to convey to everybody that either has a cleft lip and palate, is challenged with, feeling self-conscious, and just in general, what do you want to share?
Well, I actually do want to say real quickly before I go into the wrap up, I just want to say it's not just you and like the general public who is amazed with things that Ninja Warriors can do. I promise you, I am amazed every day with like new stuff that Ninja Warriors come up with, and like things that like I haven't been able to get personally, and like we're a crazy bunch.
Yeah, pushing your body like
way
past its natural limits. That's for sure.
Definitely. It's pretty crazy, but definitely. In closing, I want to spread the message that even though like you have cleft lip and palate, don't let it define your life. Let it be something like a building block in your life to propel you to your dreams and goals, and use that in your story, not as a crutch or something that you can use as an excuse to be included in things, but use that as a reason that you are included in spite of all those things, all these issues that we do have, and just being positive about the whole thing, and loving who God made you to be, and really, I think people, especially in my generation, have such a struggle with accepting who they are, and that manifests itself in all different kinds of ways. But I think that like we should really go back to the basics of like loving and accepting who God made us to be, and who God made us to be is beautiful.
I love that.